your soul, you
Yeah.
know, putting it out there.
Yeah.
Have you found balance?
I think balance is a very difficult and challenging
Yes.
thing to acquire.
Yes, it is.
For me personally, and I see this with, you know, other women who are in my life, where they are trying to be everything to everyone, trying to be a great mom, trying to be a great wife, trying to be a great employee, trying to be so many things. And sometimes it's just difficult to be great at it all. And I think what happens is something always gets sacrificed on varying levels. And it's about trying your best to maintain balance, but knowing that you may have to make some sacrifices for that. For example, for me, I have 2 children. They're very young. I have a demanding job. I have my blog, which I'm passionate about and I don't want to give up. So it's a matter of juggling all those things and still trying to find time for me, because I recognize that if I'm not okay, then I can't be productive at work. I can't be productive and loving to my children. Everybody's going to be stressed out and I'll be on the brink of no return.
So I just want to press pause because I'd like you to repeat that, because a
Yeah.
lot of us don't recognize that.
Yeah.
If you are not okay, then
Everything falls
Everything
apart.
falls apart.
Yeah. And then you end up in situations where you are probably dealing with so much stress that it has a physical toll on you. Where you're sick, you can't understand why. And you know, you're not feeling well, you can't function, and it's because the balance isn't there. So yes, balance is difficult to achieve, but it just comes to a point when you have to learn what to sacrifice in order to have some semblance of balance. And me time, self-care, self-love is very important in all of us, even men, our overall development as people. Learning to love ourselves more is, maybe people talk about that topic a lot these days, but
Yeah.
it is so necessary.
Yeah.
So, you know, a big part of, you know, of 4momslikeme.com is getting that message out there. What is self-care? How do I achieve self-care? I'm a single mother. There are tons of single mothers out there, and I never thought I would have been a single mother. The thought never ran across my mind until I was a single mother. And then I'm like, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? And then I realized I'm not alone. There are hundreds, thousands of other single mothers out there. In fact, we're taught that we are in the minority, but single mothers are in the majority. There are more single mothers in raising single families out there than married women. So the reality is that we need help, we need support. So there needs to be more policies in place, more programs in place that our governments and, you know, leaders need to start thinking about. How do we support the women in our society that are most vulnerable? And single mothers are vulnerable.
Yes.
The children they're raising are vulnerable.
Yes,
and we
yes.
need to start thinking about how we can help meet the needs of those women.
And it's interesting, we just read an article from the Jamaica Observer this morning where it says, you know, scientists have proven that the relationship between a mother and her son, if that falls apart very early, then, you know, the likelihood of them becoming doing crime,
Yes.
whether it's murderers
Yes.
or whatsoever. So
Yes.
it's really important.
That's a
It
fact.
absolutely doesn't have much to do with the father.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
you know, at the end of the
That's
day,
a
so
fact.
that bond between mother and child is so important.
Very.
So you have to have that
Yeah.
tightly
Yeah.
wound.
Yeah, exactly.
So let me ask you about your ex-husband now. How has that panned out in terms of support? I'm looking at the single mother status. Has there been backlash from him? Has he been supportive in the sense, okay, fine, my children are now with the mother, and I'm going to help and assist in whichever way I can. We've gone our separate ways.
Yes.
You're smiling.
Yes. Because that sounds beautiful. However, that is not the case.
We have to be able to laugh about it, right?
And I mean, I think my ex-husband has a lot of issues, personal issues that he has to work out.
Okay.
I knowing what I know, and if you read my blog, you will see a lot of the things that I talk about. I think he has deep-rooted issues that he may never be able to fix. And unfortunately for my children, that is a problem. He's not in their lives. He's not in our lives. So there's no fatherly support there, and that is sad because it is affecting them, especially my oldest. But what I have to do now is to pick up the slack where he left off, and now
run with it.
adding to more things to my table.
Yeah, run
I
with
have
it.
to double up on the parenting, which I am willing to do because
Yes.
I recognize that even in when I look at the way my parents parented me, they did their best, and I realized that I have to do better. Whatever it takes, I have to do better because I see the areas where they went wrong, and I think a lot of our parents have a way of differentiating between the boy child and the girl child in the home. And what ends up happening is the boy child gets to raise himself, and he's like all over the place, and he can do whatever he wants. He can go anywhere, come home anytime. And us girls, we're taught be strong, be bold, be independent, but don't go out there. Stay here, sheltered. And then you tell us lies. You don't tell us the truth about what life really is about.
Yeah.
And then we go out into the world with this naive mentality
and some of
that
us
gets
crash.
us into trouble.
Yep.
Gets us into trouble. I strongly believe that parenting today needs to involve open and honest communication with your children from very early. Because my children are 2 and 4, and I'm very shocked at the
what
things they know.
Yeah.
My oldest asked her teacher, "Are you married to a boy or a girl?" I have no idea where she got that from, but clearly she's learning it from somewhere. And those are the type of questions that your children are going to start asking. And instead of saying, "How dare you ask something like that?" or "What are you talking about?" you're going to have the conversation because they actually understand. So in this day and age, some people marry men, men marry men, some girls are marrying girls. It's the reality. You can't hide it. So I'm just saying, open, honest conversation, key as we, move forward in parenting in today's age.
All right, so we have to wrap up. Last
Yeah.
question. Business,
Yeah.
the work environment,
Yeah.
the boys club.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? How do you deal with that? You're in that industry where, yeah. And we're not calling anybody out, but we know
No,
it's
not
fact.
at all, not at all.
Doesn't necessarily have to be in the space that
Yeah.
you're in right now,
Yeah.
but you have
Yeah.
such a wide expanse.
Yeah, and I've experienced a lot of interesting things over the span of my life, not just at work, but in my personal life. And I definitely see that there's the boys club. I definitely see that it exists, and the way I deal with that is by trying to be more open and honest with my my bosses, and improving myself in the workplace, and letting the rest work itself out. Because you can't force things down their throat. You can't force them to make certain decisions. However, you have the right to step out into your own glory by producing magnificent work. Because even if they don't realize it, your coworkers will. And that goes a long way. And I think there's a lot of work to be done in that area, and I think we're making strides, but we definitely need to see more women in executive positions, even more women in the political arena, across the board. And we need to make sure that we're giving these women the support and the resources they need to make those things become a reality.
Shermain, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
This morning. Loved it.
So before we wrap,
Tell me.
there's a group online that I've created called United Coalition for Women and Moms.
Yes.
And if any persons are interested in joining in the conversation, we are planning to be an action group. It's a closed group, but you can find us on Facebook and send us a message, and we will let you in.
I like that. And you know what? I think the words for this morning, open and honest.
Open and
honest.
honest.
Because that has just been regurgitating. Shermain Jeremy, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks
All
so
the
much for
best.
having me. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.